And Christianity of it in itself is a cult. It's just a really big and old one now. A fairy tale, fictional, a waste
I
of
do
time.
believe God has given me a gift of being able to speak, of being able to teach.
I fall into Christianity. It's filled with contradictions. When God started to fail me years ago.
You know, I'm not anti-Catholic. I'm not anti-Eastern Orthodox. I truly do see all of these people as brothers in Christ.
I've been a Christian for 3 years, or I was a Christian for 3 years, but we don't have time for all that shit. Great book is God is Not Great, How Religion Poisons Everything by Christopher Hitchens. And then here's another one, Why I'm Not a Christian, 4 Conclusive Reasons to Reject the Faith.
Who I pray that God will have mercy for, as well as myself and all of us.
Son, don't do it for young Don. Do it for the sick kid, right? Because you really got faith and you really got power like that. Do it for the sick kids with cancer and the parents that are suffering because their child has never done anything wrong because they're a little baby is being ravaged by cancer, right? Do it for them. You can't and you won't because your shit don't work.
Did you know that contrast is a very important element in art? The two sides fighting against each other is what makes it so beautiful. And I like to say the exact same about human beings, especially human beings that show everything on the internet. They are modern pieces of art sitting there waiting to be ripped to shreds and analyzed. Because we see them succeed, we see them change, we see them break, and we see them fail, and it's truly entertaining that sometimes you gotta take a step back and realize that, yo, these are actual people with actual lives. We should be a little nicer to them. But regardless, if you put yourself out there, you can't expect not to get any criticism. So who is Young Don? Young Don is a religious fanatic, but before that he was a simple YouTube animator. Something he threw away to become a Christian. Not just a normal Christian, but a Christian of the most extreme degree, and he was so dedicated that he was willing to throw away everything in his life that's not related to his pursuit of the truth and his pursuit of God. And while this seems admirable, the truth of the matter is, when people make such drastic decisions out of nowhere, it usually does not end up well.
Despite I did go get circumcised, cut the tip of my penis off.
But it feels as if he was only serving his own ego. He was simply confused. He didn't know what he was gonna do. He didn't know what he was getting himself into. So he got circumcised. So he got in a church. So he gave them his money. So he gave them his audience. So he got manipulated.
You can't believe me when I say that I really believed. Despite I did go get circumcised, cut the tip of my penis off. You know, when I thought the Messianic Judaism shit was real, like who does that if they don't really believe in God or believe in this shit? You know, I iced my YouTube career for 3 years. You know what I'm saying? I pretty much burnt every bridge I had with all these like really famous. They was like, I ain't touching Don with a 10-foot pole. The way how I was talking, you know what I'm saying?
I feel like this is what happens when you don't take proper care of yourself. You look for other people and other things to take care of you. So help me take care of you with our sponsor today, Aura. Aura works tirelessly to protect your online information, keeping it secure from all attempts of identity theft, which is a huge problem from 2024 to 2025. 33% of Americans have experienced some form of identity theft. Do not let this be you. Thankfully for me and you, Aura has reached out offering to help, keeping you all safe while browsing the internet. Stop letting these creeps have a chance of stealing your information. Go to the link in the description at aura.com/truthorlife to get a 14-day free trial. I promise you will not regret it. If you guys support Aura, you guys support me. And I do want to say thank you all for the support on the channel. We will now continue regularly scheduled programming.
You know what I'm saying? You're going to burn in hell! Repent and believe the gospel. You know what I mean? Like I was in fucking full-blown psycho mode, dude. I really believe this shit. But so I guess none of that counts as valid evidence that I really believed. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, you know, I moved my family to a compound, bro. Great.
The man is hurting, and it is pretty obvious that he is. This is the side of religion that no one really tells you about.
I mean, I gave this thing 3 years of my life. You know what I'm saying? Unwavering dedication, unwavering love of the Lord, constant blaming myself, no matter what happened, constant blaming myself. Never was like, why God, da da da. You know what I'm saying? And so when you get to a point where you think, or where you come to accept that, hey, this thing wasn't true to begin with, you get mad because you feel like, oh, I got scammed. Shout out Gideon, but Gideon built up his Gideon page, his spiritual page, and essentially just gave it over to that Josh Pastor guy. You know what I'm saying? That's what these people do. They lack talent and charisma, and they can't build a following of their own. And so they latch themselves on to younger people who actually have talent and charisma and likability. The Bible say, who will ask his father for food and he will give him a snake? You ask God for direction and he put you in a cult. But then of course Christians will say he only did it to teach you a lesson. I was really going super hard as a Christian. I was really giving this my everything. And somehow I just constantly was being convinced more and more that I'm dirty and unworthy and all this man. And you know, am I even really a Christian? Yeah, I was a Christian. I was one of the most Christian people on the planet, bro. I can guarantee you that. I now see that in hindsight. And so of course I would encourage you to deconstruct and come out of that and read some books by academics and professors that rip this religion apart. But if you're going to stay in it, stop beating yourself up, bro, because if you ever came out, you would see how dedicated you actually really are to the faith. Yeah, I promise you, you're probably way more dedicated than you realize.
He was placed under unrealistic expectations. He was not allowed to slip up as he is in the public eye. Can't watch movies, can't listen to music, can't speak a certain type of way. All these expectations of everyone is being forced upon you, and you have to show up every time in public and follow it. It would drive anyone crazy. He was not allowed to just be himself and grow into the faith, so he destroyed himself in the process. Any little slip up, someone's making a video on him, just like that. It's a very negative environment to grow in. I think it's impossible.
Man, because you don't hear from God, right? God has never spoken to you ever once. You've never heard a voice. I know you haven't. Don't lie to me. You might feel, you know, you have your internal voice. That's just your voice. You've always had that, right? And now you know, but you've never heard God. But you come and you find these pastors, whether they went to school or they've just been reading the Bible a long time or walking into faith a long time. And so you feel like they have a closer and better connection to this God. And so because you can actually talk to them and they can actually, like, you know, reach out to you in a way that God should be reaching out to you, but he never does. You start to feel like you almost, it's like you take the authority that you give to God and you give it to your religious leader, your authority, whoever that authority is.
And that's how you get manipulated.
Did get to a point where I was letting other people tell me how to do a lot of really significant, important things. It's bad, man. It's sad. Despite I did go get circumcised, cut the tip of my penis off.
And due to being manipulated and clearly very hurt that it's not worth it in his eyes anymore, and the things that he wants are not paying off for him anymore, he moves away from it.
Classic cult, and Christianity of it in itself is a cult. It's just a really big and old one now. A fairy tale, fictional, a waste of time, because most people have sacrificed. They have given things up, given people up, given opportunities up. I know people have walked away from millions of dollars to do all this. How do you think that person's going to feel when they hear someone tell them that it's, I mean, and so to varying degrees, people have sacrificed so much, but that's how you get people to buy in. It's a manipulation 101. We're so susceptible to the idea that once we have invested, too much into something, It's always better to try and save it or salvage it. There's got to be something here I can save. The idea of just cutting bait, cutting all your losses and saying this and getting the out is too much for most people. Did you find that shit convincing? Because I didn't. Does that make you want to believe in Jesus? Does that make you believe in the supernatural? Or does this just sound like a woman yelling out gibberish? Because that's what it is. And it's not historical biblical tongues. The tongues mentioned in the Bible is, you know, speaking in other human languages miraculously. The point I'm making is that it's baked into the text that there would be signs for unbelievers, but there are none. You cannot provide any. So what keeps you is a sense of guilt, shame, and fear. You're afraid of burning in hell. You don't have superpowers, nigga. Let's be real, right? You can't heal your sick family. Let's go down to the nearest children's hospital. Come through to Texas. Let's go down to the nearest children's cancer hospital and get to work. Let's start healing some babies. I promise you it will never happen. Yeah, man. But hey, that's what's up. I'm just gonna be living life like a normal human. Yeah, man, I'm done with all of this foolishness. I'm done with the bigotry. I'm done with all of this bullshit, bro. As a species, we need to move on from this shit, bro, because it's holding us back.
And the reason Don ended up like this in the first place is simply because he went off the rockers. He went so extreme that it didn't make sense. You don't have to debate anything on Christianity. You don't gotta question people. All you need to do is focus on yourself, but instead of doing that, he lets other people in.
He's playing the holier than thou. He's playing the Pharisee, and that's what he is. And where are the Pharisees right now? They're burning in the pits of hell. And that's right where he's gonna go. And the people that follow him are gonna be there with him.
Like, shouldn't you trying to correct him politely in a positive way that would encourage him to be better? Instead, you just say, oh yeah, you're gonna burn in hell, and so will the people who follow you. Like, these type of weirdos are the slave owners, bro. Like, these were the slave owners that gave Christianity a bad name. Anyways, though, hey, I'm gonna catch y'all later, but I hope y'all enjoyed the little video. Y'all have a blessed day.